And we're going to put mute on everybody, and we're going to go over a bunch of things this morning, actually. First of all, I'd like to start off this morning's meeting by congratulating Brett, Paige, and Brandon. Brett obviously was top dealer. Not only was he top dealer for August, but he's now the top dealer in the world for the year to date. So congratulations, Brett. You're absolutely killing it. You and Sue Jenna, so great job. Congratulations to Paige for being the top recruiter last month, and for Brandon Stout, first month open being top recruiting office. And I can promise you, if you're top recruiting office on a consistent basis, you will definitely be the top office. There's no question, because recruiting is what it's all about. But I want to go over a couple of different things from maybe a different angle this morning. And I want to start by making everybody realize, a lot of times I hear people say things like, you got to run your office like it's a business. No, you don't got to run your office like it's a business. You got to run your office because it is a business. And the number one rule that each and every one of you and each and every one of us and all of us should always be living by every single day, every single week, every single month is the number one goal is to make a profit. That is your responsibility. God bless. Yes, we want to protect people. We want to protect families. We want to save lives. All those things are great. But if you're not in business because you didn't watch your money, then you're not helping anybody. And I want you to think about this when it comes to maximizing your investment, because everything that you do, from your office rent to your flyers to your printing to if you happen to have a photocopy that you're paying a monthly fee on, to your marketing department, whether it's your gifts or your inventory, everything is an investment. Now, if you went to a grocery store and you bought $50 in groceries and you got home and there's only $20 in the bag, what would you do? Would you sit there and say, oh, well, my bad luck today? I guess next time I'll check my groceries before I leave the store? Or would you go back and do something about it? And how often do we make investments that we don't even follow up to make sure that we're getting our money's worth? How often do we have a marketing person in there for 4 or 5 hours and only find out at the end of the shift how their day was? How often do we happen to have, we run out of gifts because we weren't paying attention to our gifts? And we're sitting there saying, hey, I don't understand. All of a sudden, I've gone through 300 window stickers in the last 2 weeks, but we've only done 40 demonstrations. How is that possible? Because we were giving stacks of them out all the time. It's very, very important for you to start to realize that you are a business person. Okay, it makes a big difference. I was talking to a dealer about 2 weeks ago. They've spent over $20,000 in the last year in COD charges for shipments. A lot of them were overnight charges. Now, I know we have to pay freight, but that's an easy $16,000 more than should have been done if they had the inventory in their office to begin with. $16,000 in profits. You can get a $50,000 loan for a whole year, and your only interest would only be $4,000. $16,000 is 140 hard units that you would receive free. So you've got to look at every single thing of them. You've got to look at every single part of the investment. And how do I maximize this investment? It makes such a big difference. Back in 1985, I was in a situation where we were just barely surviving in my office. We were going along, we were struggling, we were hitting the same numbers every month. And it got to a point where I had a choice. I could have just kept on surviving and things got better. Or I sat down and realized the only thing that was stopping me from really getting aggressive is I didn't have the kits to get people on the road. We didn't get aggressive because I didn't have the money to be able to pay a proper manager. So I'd have people come in and do it part-time with me, but not really teach them the things that we needed to do. So I went out and took a $60,000 loan when I could have got a house at that time probably for about $50,000. Okay? And I invested that in my business. And within about 4 months, I was able to pay that back and we were flying. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you, got to become a businessman. Or a businesswoman. You've got to start looking at your opportunity as a business. I was talking to people yesterday, and I was saying the sad reality is this OmniShield opportunity is so amazing, but it goes into so many different directions. And it's really, it's sad that some people aren't going to really benefit from all of the opportunity, all of the ways that you can make money, all of the ways that you can do to lower your pricing, all of the ways that you can make overrides. So you've got to start thinking as a business person, and you got to start thinking in this reality. Do I want to become a millionaire? Now, most people don't become a millionaire because most people don't know how to handle money. Now, I want you to understand what that means. Most people don't know how to handle money. Okay? And what that basically means is that they have millions of dollars go through their hands, but you're only going to learn how to handle money when you have money of your own. If I asked right now, and if I took any of you out there, so let's go to a mall and ask 100 people, if I gave you $1 million, what would you do with it? And what do you think the answers would be? The answers would be, well, I'd buy a new car, or I'd get a new house for me and my family, or I would go on vacation. If we haven't on a vacation, I can promise you, not one person would say, I'd take that $1 million and I'd turn it into 5 million. I would take that $1 million and I'd learn. See, that's the difference between people who are survivors, and almost everybody starts out as a survivor, and those who go on to become very wealthy. Wealthy people make money when they have money. You need to do those things. We've talked about this 7 months ago, the Millionaires Club. Let's start off by putting $20 per hard unit in a separate bank account that you don't touch. Even if you did $10, even if you did $5 per hard unit, take how many units you've done since you started and times it by $5 and ask yourself, do I have that extra money? Not your business money and not your savings money, but do I have that extra money even at $5? If you sold 6 hard units last week, would you go to the bank today and put a $30 deposit in a separate account? The answer for 99% people is no, because $30 isn't going to make a difference, Carmen. Why would $30 make a difference? It's real important that we start to look at things as being business people. And that starts from understanding in the beginning. If you want to become a millionaire, it starts for you by you finding something that's going to allow you to make the money to save to become a millionaire. I promise you, you get a job paying $100,000 a year, you are never going to become a millionaire unless you get lucky. It ain't going to happen. Because after you pay for mortgages, after you pay your income tax, after you pay your living expenses, after you have a nice life, after you have all of these other things, how much do you think you're possibly going to save at the end of the year? After you have insurance, after you put kids through school, after you get your clothing, can you save $10,000? Well, $10,000 a year, how long is it going to take you to save to become a millionaire? So, it's crazy, but that's exactly what it is. So we need to start teaching ourselves how to put ourselves on budgets. We need to start teaching ourselves to make sure that if we invest in a person, we get that investment out. If you put the money into recruiting somebody, if you put the money into training them, if you put the money into putting a kit in their hands, then work with that person and make them into a superstar. I don't care if they're full-time or part-time, but make sure that you're getting a return on your investment in everything that you do. Make sure those millions of dollars that go through your hands, some of it gets saved for you. It's real important. You got to learn those things, folks. You got to understand. The answers are all going to be there, but you got to add up. It's an amazing thing when it comes to things like advice. When people give advice, they shout it. They shout it as loud as they can shout it to make sure everybody hears it. And when people give advice to themselves, they whisper it. And they whisper it as low that you can swear to God they don't even hear it. Because a lot of times in conversations with people, I'll sit there and talk about it and they'll tell me some of their problems. And then we'll keep the conversation going, and they'll come up with some of the solutions, or I'll come up with some of the solutions, and I'll come back 30 days later, and nothing's changed. Not a single thing has changed. And I have to ask myself, did they actually listen to the conversation, or did they whisper the conversation? Because whenever someone else struggled and they gave advice, they have no problem telling me, Carmen, I told that person what to do. I told them how to get their hiring doing. I told them how to get their lead costs down. I told them how to get their closing average up. And yet they're struggling themselves because we give advice with shouting and we give it to ourselves by whispering. It's very, very important that we start to realize that we make a difference. Little things I'm going to ask you this morning, if you had a pen and paper, and you don't have to do this, but if you did, can you write down what's the most amount of demos that your office has done in one day? Now, that was something that I gave last week, and I said, everybody do that and make that a goal. But I know right now, because I've asked a few people, and they said, well, let me check, was the answer that I got. So, Tim Humphries calls it being an asshole, where you ask for solutions, but you don't listen to any of them. Okay, I don't know if that's it, but here's a couple of questions. What do you right now? Write down, what is this week's sales contest that you have going on this week? What is the bonus you have for personal demos being put on this week? What is your monthly contest this month that everybody knows about? We know about the trip to New York City for New Year's Eve, which is going to be absolutely awesome trip. How many of you have already got a contest for your people? And most of you, if I'm going to talk to you today, are going to tell me, well, I'm still putting it together today. I'm going to have it by this afternoon. Don't you worry. And it should have been done last week. I know a lot of you were in Jackson Hole. It should have been done before you left for Jackson Hole. All of these things, this is what leadership, this is the difference between being a manager and leadership. Leadership realizes you're going to have to plan in advance, and you always have a plan B and a plan C, but you're always planning in advance. You know, I talked to someone the other day. Can anybody here imagine trying to become a great salesman by reading sales books? Do you think that there's any sales book that's going to make a person a great salesman in our business? I don't believe so. Do you think there's any book that's going to make a person a great doctor? You get great at something by doing. I'm still talking to people saying, Carmen, I just want to make sure I get this all figured out. I just want to make sure I really understand every part of it. You are never going to understand this without doing it. You are never going to understand what the problems or find what the problems are without doing it. That is just the way it is. Every person in our organization, we still have that 80-20 rule. It happened again last month. It's actually, our rule is more like 85-15. 85% of all results will be on the 15% of the people who are doing it. In fact, sometimes they're the ones who are constantly calling up with asking questions because they found the problem by doing it. And now they want to know how to solve that problem. And everybody else is trying to find all the solutions. So they're sitting there, and it's no different. If you remember the day that you were in training, I remember the day I was in training, I sat there and said to the trainer, what happens if they don't let you in? What happens if they're broke? What happens if they're unemployment? What happens if they kick you out? What happens if they're not home? I had all of these imaginary problems in my head that I was giving to my trainers. So I was prepared. So I was going to be ready by the time I knocked on someone's door. I thought he had all the answers. You don't know. You just don't. You don't know what's going to happen inside that door until you go in there. I've been in homes where the people were nasty. They weren't listening. They were being sarcastic. They were literally laughing. And at the end, they pulled their credit card out easily. And I've been in homes where everything was so smooth that I'm saying to myself, man, I wish I had somebody here watching me do this demo because this is perfect, man. This is going to be the easiest close. This should be a training video. And then they'd give me some crazy ass objection that came out of nowhere that I didn't even know how to handle. So you got to make sure that if you want to get great at this, you got to go out there and you got to do it. You got to go out there and make it happen. You got to go out there and have things work for you. And the most important thing is you've got to train yourself, and this takes training, to start to learn how to think how to make something happen, not why something can happen. I've talked to people and saying, listen, you've got to get some training done. You don't have any manpower in your organization. Yeah, but Carmen, if I'm training, how am I going to get on demos? Well, how about if you hire one person at a time and bring them and train them on the road? Oh, I never thought of that. Okay. All of these little things that you need to be able to realize how to make something work. How do I get this happening? How do I got 5 people in training and I got this super sharp person who came in today, but training's already halfway done. What do? Do I put them off till next week and maybe risk losing them? Or do I figure out a way of getting it done today? You figure out a way of getting it done today. You've got to do this continuously. I want you to also understand this simple little field. I want you to understand this word, manager. What is the definition of a manager? A manager is somebody who what? Manages. I mean, if you look in the dictionary and look under manager, that's what it says. A manager is somebody who manages. What do they manage? They manage everything. Manager does not say beside manager, a manager is somebody who does it. A manager is a doer. It says a manager is somebody who manages. A manager's job is to manage that marketing department. Make sure you get maximized value out of the marketing department. Make sure people are producing what you're paying them for, producing the leads that you need. A manager is managing the sales force, making sure that they're trained properly, making sure they're motivated properly, making sure they're getting on the leads properly, making sure that they're closing properly. They're managing all the steps through it. I had a conversation the other day, and that was where I said, the one thing a manager should not be doing. Now, again, when I say these things, understand, I'm talking about a big organization. I talk about, for those of you who want to become millionaires, for those of you who want to make the big money, for those of you who want to have the time for your family, then you've got to build a big organization. You've got to have those dreams and you've got to train the people. A manager should be managing, not training. A trainer should be training. The manager should be making sure lots and lots of people in training. But that works when you have 7 or 8 or 9 minimum safety advisors on the road all the time. I'm not going to have a manager have a trainer if there's 2 people on the road. But if I got 7 or 8 or 9 people on the road, then I'm going to have a trainer training all the time. And I'm going to have a manager managing my marketing department, managing my sales department, managing my recruiting department, managing my inventory department, managing all those things because they are going to become the next dealer. And my trainer is going to become the next manager. So each one of them is teaching off each other. But when I said this, the person kind of looked a little, and I sat there, and in my mind, I'm sitting there saying, wait a minute, I covered that for a whole hour at the last workshop, and nobody said anything. So we got to listen, and we got to work, and if you're not sure about something, then ask. And I'm not saying that my way is the only way. Absolutely not. I just know how to do it this way, and I know how to do it this way very, very well. And I know there's people out there who are going to do it a whole lot better than I'm doing it. And I promise you, I'm going to learn the way you're doing it when you're doing better. I'm going to learn each and every one of those ways. And then I'm going to help everybody else learn those things also. But we're working together as a team. If you take a look, every single month, International Lifesavers is either in the top or close to the top. Our people are always at the top in the dealer category, always at the top of the recruiting category, always at the top in the sales category, the safety advisor category. So everything that we're doing, everything that we're learning, all of this came about by people like Tom Spears, April Lane, Chris Putnam, Bruce Glenn, Darren Glenn, Carmen Glenn, just going out there and doing it. We had no clue what to do. Someone asked me yesterday, Carmen, which is better? Is it better to do the iPad demonstration or is it better to do the book? And I said, I got to tell you the truth. I'm more comfortable with the book because I tried the iPad demonstration one time and I felt stupid because I haven't got good at it. Now I'm going to keep doing it, but I'm also going to keep doing the book because that's what I'm comfortable with. And I'm going to keep doing the iPad until it takes over and it becomes second nature. But I'm not going to not do it until I figure out how to do it perfectly, because I'm never going to know if I'm doing it perfectly until I do it and someone gets excited by it, until I do it and someone says, hey, yeah, I want that. You know, I was talking to Lisa's husband in Wyoming, and one of the things he said, he goes, I watched the demonstration after I already bought it. I watched it a second time in a customer's home with Lisa, and while she was doing it, I wanted to buy it all over again. That's the type of feeling we want our customers to feel. That's the type of feeling we want everybody to feel all the time, to keep motivating, keep feeling good about what we're doing. But it starts from us realizing this is a business, and the number one priority of a business is profits. I know of an office that's struggling in the States, which they only sell Beeline deals. They're only getting 75% on all their contracts. There's no business in the world that can lose 25% of its profits and stay in business. So I'm talking to this person. I said, well, what do you do for qualifying? Oh, I just throw any demos we have out. I mean, I can't afford to have someone not on a demo. You're not going to be in business very long if you don't figure out how to get A-line deals, if you don't know how to qualify your demonstrations, if you don't take a little bit extra time. The best qualified demo is what? Is a referral from somebody who got approved or paid by credit card or paid by check at 100%. Every one of their friends and family, I'm telling you, are going to be A-line deals. So we need to be a business. We need to keep exciting. The Cody Britchers and the Brandon Stouts got to keep recruiting and keep growing and keep making those sales. We covered this about 2 months ago. To be successful in this business, the first thing you have to do is you need to know how to do protections. As long as you know how to grab a kit and go out and make a protection, you're always going to survive. You're always going to pay the bills. Then if you want to grow, if you want to make big money, if you want to go to the next level, then you got to learn how to recruit. And you could do those recruiting while you're doing the protections in the customer's home. And then you start to build your business and save your money. But it's no more difficult than that. It really and truly is. I was with someone yesterday who's been in the direct sale business for 40 years. And he sells vacuum cleaners and water and air purifiers and everything else. And after seeing the whole program, he sat there and said, you know, Carmen, I could probably produce a distributor and he used the word distributor, every 3 or 4 months with your program. It's just so simple. It's so self-explanatory. Everything is laid out. And I said to him, pal, it's not quite that easy, but it's nowhere near as hard as everything we've done for the last 40 years. We still have to get people to feel the confidence. We still have to people to get the experience. You know, David Carter says it, learn it, teach it, learn it, do it, teach it. That's not going to change. It's the same thing here. Learn it, do it, teach it. We are doing those things. I'm so proud of so many of you and what you're doing every single day, but we all need to kick it up a notch. We all need to start to believe in ourselves as much as I believe in you, as much as David Carter and Gary Robinson and Chris Roberts and everybody at the company believes in you. I covered it on Friday. If you didn't have a single sale up to today, all you got to do is between now and the end of November is figure out how to recruit 3 people who get 2 protections each. And you qualify to go to Punta Cana. It's that simple. It's all about learning how to recruit. Do you have the ability to recruit 3? Not 30, not 300, not 3,000. 3 who can get 2 protections each. That's all it takes. Guys and girls, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Let's go out and make a whole lot of profit today. Let's go out and protect a whole lot of people. Let's have a whole lot of fun. Thank you very much for this morning's call, but let's really start maximizing all of the potential of this opportunity. Don't be sitting there and hearing about all the great things that everybody else is doing. Don't become success by association, where I know another distributor who just bought a Corvette, and I know another distributor who just bought a townhouse, and I know another distributor, and another person in our organization is doing this and this and this. Let that person be you. Let you be the person who's doing all those things. Thank you very much and have an awesome, awesome day. We'll talk to everybody today and have a great, great day. Thanks, guys and girls.